Hey everyone, welcome to the live stream today. Should be right on time, starting at 2:30. I'll give everybody a few months to load up the stream and then I'll do the postcard of the week that I have for this week. Let me know in the chat how your sales have been this week or last week or how they will be next week if you know already. Had any good postcards come in recently? Let me know that too. It's been, if you watched my What Sold video yesterday, you'll know that uh, it was about a little above average last week, but still a pretty good week. The week before that was really phenomenal, which is part of the reason why I didn't do a video, just because I was so busy packing and shipping and listing and everything that had sold. But yeah, getting back into the groove of things this week with the What Sold video yesterday and the live stream today. I did post a picture on my community tab of my garden that I've been working on, and that was also part of the reason why I didn't do the stream last week or the week before. But with a garden, it was kind of like a race against time. I started a little bit too late because I don't know how many gardeners we have in the chat, but at least in the south, our last frost is relatively early in the year, usually like March or April, I believe. And it's around that time of your last frost where you're supposed to be putting stuff in the ground. So obviously it is the end of May and the beginning of June. So I was way behind on starting our garden just because our garden is, well, I can't just go outside and plant plants in the yard. If you go to, I'm trying to find the post now, but yeah, if you see the post, I posted a picture, and our yard is very, very sloped, so I had to install some raised beds to make the garden, and it looks even better than the picture now. Got some tomatoes, peppers going, some watermelon, even some blueberries and raspberries. But yeah, all that stuff is in the ground, so from here on out, it should be only watering until next season comes around. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and show the postcard of the week, if I can find it. So this one is one from my personal collection that I chose, and I collect camera shops. It's not really easy to find camera shop postcards like this. Most dealers I've found have some sort of category for similar postcards. Most of them don't have a category just for camera shops, but they'll either have a category related to photography or cameras where you may find these postcards, or they may have a category related to stores or storefronts where you could also find postcards like this. So most dealers do have them categorized, but they're still pretty hard to find. This one is actually a real photo card from around the 50s. It has a classic Kodak back that I believe was used from 1950 onwards. But yeah, it's a unique one because this picture was taken at night, and obviously most postcards and especially real photos are of scenes taken during the day because it's just way easier to take a good picture during the day when you don't have to worry about how weird things are going to look. But obviously, it was an intentional choice to take the photo of this camera studio at night because they had such a bright display inside, and of course, all of their signs were lit up on the outside. You can see all of the name of the company, and this store was in Brooklyn, New York. Prospect Photographic Corp, and all of the services they offer. So projectors, Kodaks, films, developing, printing, enlarging. They did it all. I think I'm drawn towards postcards depicting camera shops because photography was always really important in my family growing up, and we frequently went to a camera shop that we had in town, and I have memories going there with my dad, and it's something that just doesn't exist anymore. It's kind of like how video stores and rental stores have gone away, so have camera stores. And I think, I don't know, I always went to camera stores more frequently than video stores, it felt like. And I don't know what it is, but I would definitely collect postcards of video stores if I came across them, but those I think started a little bit later than camera shops. Of course, you have camera shops going back all the way to the golden age of postcards. So they're represented in just about every era of postcard collecting. But video stores, of course, are a much more recent creation, and they were kind of at the tail end of postcard collect or when postcard collecting was really popular. So not many were being produced, but yeah, this one I think is just a wonderful shot. How they designed the windows just for the picture. They have photographs on the right side, and then it looks like some kind of maybe military or patriotic display on the next window with the American flags, and then just what I'm guessing is other examples of their work. So photos they've developed, postcards, or not postcards, posters they've created, different things like that. That is the postcard of the day. Postcard of the week. I mentioned in a previous video I was going to try to do one of those every single week, and that is still the case. I don't think I'll ever have a shortage of material. I might have to move on. So I've been doing just postcards from my personal collection, and that I might have to, that well might run dry, but I don't think it would be crazy to add one postcard a week to my personal collection. But anyway, I have plenty of postcards, tens of thousands behind me that I have to draw from. Nancy is in the chat. Nancy said, hello, hello. It's 80s here today. I'm trying to finish my garden before it goes back to 60s tomorrow. Yeah, it's pretty, I'm checking the weather here. We were supposed to get a pretty good cold front coming in, but that never really materialized, at least to the extent that they said it would. And it looks like typical June weather for us. It's like 80s. It's not supposed to be 90 anytime soon, fortunately, but like 83, or it's 83 here right now, and yeah, no foreseeable break in the future for us here. I'm trying to figure out what threshold I will stop going for walks outside. I went today and it was in the 80s. I don't think I can do it if it's much above 90. There is a good bit of shade on the walk, but in the 80s today, I was definitely sweating when I got done with the walk, so might have to do, switch it up and do walks in the morning, or exercise and work out outside in the morning before it gets super hot, or just ride the bike inside or something when it gets in the 90s, because it's definitely coming. It's, yeah, let me see, yeah, it's supposed to be 88 later this week, so no 90s yet. But I read something the other day that said we had, it compared the number of days we'd had in the 90s last year to what we had 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And it was just crazy how many 90-degree days we have now versus in the past. And I remember, or I know, like, anecdotally, like it feels like it's gotten a lot warmer here in the South especially, but it was just eye-opening to see it on paper. When I was a kid, it was, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was over double 90 degree days. So it was something like, when I was growing up, we'd have 23 90-degree days a year. So that's like really a month of kind of unbearable heat, and now it's like we have 57 90 plus degree days a year. So the summer has gotten longer and hotter, and I am not a fan. I do like growing things, obviously, which can only really be done in the spring and summer, so I am thankful for that, but winter is definitely my favorite season. Ashley's in the chat. Ashley said, hi, Daniel and Postcard peeps. Welcome in, Ashley. Curtis said, hi from Eastern North Carolina. Welcome in, Curtis. I recently sold some postcards from your neck of the woods. I'm trying to remember the name of the town. Actually, I can just go to eBay and look it up. I don't think it was when I did a what sold video, so I don't think I ever showed these postcards, but I can show them. Oh, I did. What I'm thinking, I did post about them on Patreon. But I didn't show them on my What Sold or stream or anything, so I'll just show them now. But they're really, really cool. I think they're from the Asheville area, and they sold for really good money. Let me see if I can pull them up here. All orders. Let's see, North Carolina RPPC. But I've been blessed to, okay, Marshall, North Carolina, I believe. Which I don't know why the other one's not showing up. Okay, there we go. It's showing up now. I've been blessed to find some really good North Carolina cards recently, which is one of the states I always look out for, especially early cards of real photos. Should go without saying. Let's see. Okay, let me share my screen. Just had to make sure all of the personal information was hidden. Share screen. Let's see. There we go. Okay, yeah, this is the, well, I was going to say this is the first one that sold, but they sold at the same time. But this is one of the cards that sold. Just a really nice, I don't know if you're anywhere near Marshall, North Carolina. I'm pretty sure it's in eastern North Carolina. I think it was around Asheville from what yeah. Oh, sorry. I completely got my directions mixed up. That's western North Carolina. Uh, yeah, I'm usually better with my cardinal directions. Forgive me. You are on the complete opposite side of the state. But I'm going to show these postcards anyway because I'm already here. But I did have some cool postcards I listed recently from the coast of North Carolina. I think Nag's Head, is that? Yeah, I listed a couple from early cards from Nag's Head and a couple more around the shore here. Surf City, maybe? That sounds familiar. But yeah, complete opposite side of the state. My apologies. This is one of the Marshall, North Carolina cards I sold, and a lot of the air. I just Googled Marshall, North Carolina before I listed these cards just to see, if there's any, because oftentimes if there are websites about the history of the town or articles written about the town's history and stuff like that, there will be a better collecting market, or the cards will go for more money. So did some research, found out that a lot of the town was unfortunately destroyed and damaged by Hurricane Helene last year. I believe it's Hurricane Helene. Yeah, Hurricane Helene. So a lot of the stuff in this image probably aren't even there, like the buildings. This is the French Broad River, which is caused a lot of the flooding around western North Carolina in the hurricane. This is one of the cards I sold. Shows a nice little view of the town, which is right along the river. And I'm assuming the wealthier you were, the higher up you live, because I think that's usually how it goes, right? If you have a lot of money, you live on like a castle on a hill. Or maybe I'm just thinking, the reason why I said that is we used to live in Franklin, Tennessee, lived and worked in Franklin, Tennessee. And Dave Ramsey, the financial influencer, lived in around the town, and he lived on top of one of those hills in like a mansion castle. So I think that's a common thing among wealthy people. But this is the other Marshall, North Carolina card I sold. I had 250 on one and 200 on the other, and I made a deal with the buyer. I sold both of them for $400 combined. This is a nice one too. It's just a view of the town from a slightly different angle. This one I priced a little bit up because it has the railroad depot in the front of the shot here, which, both of the cards were very, very uncommon views. But that depot, I figured, add a little value. So the French Broad River there with a bridge and just really, really cool cards. They were going to somebody. He said he had lived in Marshall, North Carolina for or his family had lived there for generations, so they couldn't have really gone to a better buyer. I'm just searching on WorthPoint to show you the comps I was looking at, because yeah, there wasn't much out there. And if we're trying to find postcards of Marshall, North Carolina, let me see if that, and that's not going to work because I have it to only search the title. But yeah, these top three are postcards, but everything else is not really, That's a postcard sold for $27 in 2019. So you don't really have any postcards that are selling for much. I based my prices off of this one postcard that sold for $207.50 in 2020. I figured that would be a weird price for it to sell at fixed price, so I figured that was an accurate auction price for that card. And maybe I could have priced mine a little bit higher, but I'm happy with what I got for those cards. And yeah, I just wanted to do that quick little video since I didn't have the opportunity to share those on a What Sold video. Moments to Memory says, glad to be here today. 90s in southern New Mexico. Wind finally dying down. Need rain. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I was in New Mexico, not southern, I think middle. Albuquerque's middle, right? My wife's brother got married last year in New Mexico in the summer, and it was very, very hot. So that your comment reminded me of that experience. But New Mexico is a beautiful, beautiful state, and if our family lived in New Mexico, I would live in New Mexico in a heartbeat. It's just the landscape is incredible, and I'm a sucker for deserts, and I just think that type of landscape is really beautiful. But Breaking Bad is also my favorite show, or one of my favorite TV shows. That might have something to do with it. Brad said the summer rains are starting here in Florida. Yeah, I don't know what the weather. I know it's hot in the summer here. I don't think we usually get much rain, but like about it's been about 5 days now, but it rained for about a week straight here. It rained just every single day. And when I was checking my weather earlier, it said it was going to rain for about every single day starting in a couple days for another week or so. But summer rains, yeah, I don't know. I don't mind rains in the summer because when it's super hot, I'm not really going outside anyway. And if anything, it just cools it off a little bit. And also, when it rains, that means I don't have to water the garden, which I don't have a sprinkler system set up. I kind of think it'll be a waste. I have a pretty big water can that I've been watering from. I think it's like 5 gallons or something like that. And I have to fill that up 3 times to water everything now. And I'm going to be planting some more, but even if I have to fill it up 4 or 5 times, I feel like that's worth it rather than just setting up a sprinkler, because the sprinkler would be less work, but I feel like that's just a waste because you're watering a ton of dirt with the sprinkler, and I don't know. I just think that would use a lot more water. But if we have any sprinkler or irrigation experts in the chat, let me know. Nancy said, in a lot of postcards, I got a 1994 National Postcard Week postcard featuring Bill Clinton. High 70s is usually warmest in my microclimate. Yeah, I think I've actually seen some like that. If Hal's in the chat, Hal, I think you're a Rick Geary collector. Did he ever do a Bill Clinton one? I feel like I've seen a Rick Geary card of Bill Clinton that he made for one of the National Postcard Weeks. But let me know. I know I've seen some Bill Clinton, maybe a different one than what you've seen. Barbara's in the chat. Barbara, I just got a postcard from you in the mail today. I won't show it because it has both of our addresses on it, but thank you for that. It was a Georgia postcard. I have a search and alert set up for Georgia postcards, and Barbara recently listed one that I thought was really cool and that I didn't have. So I'll be adding that one to my collection and still have it in the envelope. So haven't got around to scanning it, but maybe I'll show it on another or a postcard of the week in the future. But I didn't connect your username on eBay to you, but when I saw it in the mail, I connected it, obviously. So thank you for that really cool Georgia postcard. New Ku says, Central Florida here. We're happy that we're back down in the mid 80s. Yeah, Florida, is it? I don't, I guess it is quite humid there too. I was going to say maybe in the inland parts of Florida, it's not as humid as the coast. I don't know if that's true or not, though. I've only been to the state of Florida once, believe it or not, even though we border them as a state. Haven't had much reason to go down there. It's hot enough up here. Lise said, hi from San Antonio. Welcome in, Lise. Lil's Postcards said, nice cards. Welcome in, Lil's Postcards. Everybody, if you don't subscribe to Lil's Postcards, make sure to check her out. She does some really interesting videos. She's probably one of my favorite postcard YouTubers making videos, and she just discovers a lot of niches and things that you wouldn't normally think about. And I've learned a lot from watching hers. I know radio cards is one thing that I've learned about, but I think hers are really, yeah, educational, and she always has some great finds. And thank you. Those were some really nice, yeah, North Carolina ones. I find North Carolina cards or RPPCs of mountains more often than street scenes like that or views of towns. And I just sold one actually today for $100. It was a view of a mountain in North Carolina. Those aren't too hard to find for me, but it may just be because of my location, and a lot of dealers and antique stores around here just happen to get stuff from North Carolina. But yeah, those were some really nice North Carolina cards, and I don't think I've ever found real photos that nice from North Carolina before. Jerry Lynn said, hello everyone. I'm watching in Las Vegas. Welcome in, Jerry Lynn. Out there for, no judgment here, out there to see Pawn Stars, gambling, sports. I know they have several sports teams that moved out there recently, although the baseball team I think is currently playing in California until their stadium in Las Vegas is complete. So I guess they don't really have any sports going on right now. But if I ever went to, hopefully I will get a lot of Las Vegas. I don't want to say that like, you know, on death's door and might not ever make it to travel to Las Vegas. But when I go to Las Vegas, I will definitely go to see the Pawn Stars place. I love that show. I know it's kind of like a, I don't know. It's not like a realistic reality TV show. I'm under no, I don't know what the word is. I'm under no, yeah, I totally can't think of the word, but I'm not convinced it's a real TV show. I know it's fake, but I still really, really enjoy Pawn Stars and seeing the stuff that comes into the store. And I know that's like a big touristy thing people do in Las Vegas, along with every other thing. I mean, it's basically a tourist town, right? Mr. Interpol fan said, greetings from Los Angeles. I hope everyone is well. Interpol. That's the International Police. Let me see. I've heard of that before. Interpol. Oh, it auto-corrected to interpolation. Oh yeah, International Criminal Police Organization. I think, yeah, I knew that one. Jerry Lynn, it's 89 degrees in Las Vegas, a little cooler than it has been. Yeah, the deserts aren't great heat-wise this time of year, but I was surprised how cold Albuquerque gets in the winter when we went out there. You normally think of deserts as hot, but deserts can be very, very cold, especially at night, even during the summer. Oh, already covered Barbara. A sprinkler has the advantage of being able to run at a slow soaking pace versus a fast dump from your can. Yeah, that's true. True. Good point. Uh, I don't know. Do plants prefer a slow soak versus a fast dump? You know, it's not like I'm just dumping. It does have the little spout, so it is sprinkling out a little bit. It's more like a quick downpour, I would say, from the can. But they, you know, I watered right on the plants and they got kind of depressed, not emotionally, but just like they kind of laid down and were drama queens for a minute. But I watered them, went on a walk, and then I came back and the plants had perked right back up. So, yeah, I don't know if they prefer one or over another. It's probably more natural to do the slow soak. Maybe plants are evolving to accept the fast dump. Lee said, I prefer to water by hand. It makes me notice more what needs staking, picking, and spotting any damage. Oh yeah, that's a good point too. I do set up a sprinkler on a timer when I go on vacation. Yeah, I might, yeah. Hopefully, I don't think we're going on any like long vacations this year, but I could probably have somebody come over and water them instead of setting up a whole sprinkler system, but maybe could convince our cat sitter to do that. Nancy said underground hose under the plants is most effective. I had that in my garden in the ground. The postcard is not Rick Geary. It's done by Diane Allen. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I've seen a Rick Geary one of Bill Clinton, but I'm guessing a lot of postcards were done of Bill Clinton around that time. You know, all types of political satire and stuff. I was just a kid then when Bill Clinton was president, but I remember everyone talking about Bill Clinton, and he was like a lot of political fodder for a very long time there. Inland is worse, no sea breezes. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, when I visit the beach, it is always cooler on the beach because of the breeze. I love Lil's videos. Ashley says, me too. Uh, no illusions. Not sure. That I must have missed out on that conversation. The band from New York. Oh, Interpol is a band. Okay. Shows what I know. Oh, okay. Rock band from Manhattan, New York. Let's see. How famous is Interpol? Interpol, how famous? Okay. Interpol is a popular alternative rock band. Okay. Well, I probably should have heard of them. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, it says here first album 2002. Yeah, I don't know. I was listening to music around that time. That's around the time I got my first CD player, so I would have thought I would have heard of them, but I guess not. International. So are you a fan of the International Police or just the band? What does the International Police do? Do they like police the waters where they say you can do anything over open water once you go like a certain distance from the coastline of a country? Is that what Interpol is in charge of? Like that gray zone? Let me see. Oh, and Interpol is headquartered in Lyon, France. Connecting police for a safer world. Okay. Okay, here's what they got. Okay, they do terrorism, cybercrime, and organized crime, crimes against humanity, drug trafficking, political corruption, white collar crime. Interpol is not a law enforcement agency. Okay, so that answers that question. I guess they don't really have any ability to enforce the law. They just are like detectives who discover the crimes and I guess refer them to whatever organization has jurisdiction. That's interesting. Interpol. Who would have thought? Contrary to the common idea, Interpol is not a supranational law enforcement agency and has no agents with arresting powers. Okay, good to know. Learn something new every week. So, anybody in the chat, if Interpol ever tries to arrest you, they do not have that power. So you can tell Interpol to pound sand. The police, not the band. The band, I'm assuming, is pretty cool, but I'll have to, yeah, check them out. Jerry Lynn said, "Oh, I just looked up the band and watched a clip. Good sound, love it. I assume they're a rock band. Based on this is completely stereotyping. Based on the one image I saw when I googled Interpol band, yeah, it says they are a rock band. You just don't see people like that making other types of music at that time. No offense." But I would not see this group of guys and be like, oh yeah, they probably make soft jazz. Um, they look British too. Is that? Oh no, they're from Manhattan. Huh. Well, Interpol. Oh, they still have a website. That's cool. They do. They look British to me. I don't know what it is. The pale skin, maybe. Interesting. I'll have to look up more about Interpol. Recently was given a banker's box full of old postcards. Nice. Well, you're in the right place. And everybody else watching this stream right now is very, very jealous of you. That's, yeah. If only we could all be given a banker's box full of postcards. Now, I assume you're here. I haven't, maybe you are a longtime watcher of the show and a longtime seller of postcards, but I assume you just got a box and you're here to learn, which no better place. And let me know if you have any questions. But yeah, that's quite a find. Love to be given. I'm always accepting boxes of postcards. If anybody out there has any they want to donate to the cause. Actually, now that I say that, I take that back because I have gotten quite selective and, if I know nobody would actually do this, but just in case there's that one person out there, I don't want your boxes of Niagara Falls and Mount Rushmore and all of that. I'm happy with the postcards I have right now. They studied in Europe and some met. Yeah, they had that look to them. You can just kind of tell when you're talking to a European. No offense, but it's kind of like a white glow. Um, they seem really professional, educated, well studied, uh, sophisticated. Marshall said never sold a postcard in my life. Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know. Maybe I am guilty of stereotyping you too, but most people that do sell postcards, unfortunately, aren't lucky enough to be given a banker's box full of postcards. But yeah, I would say the best thing to do is probably go through it and pick out the more valuable ones that you want to sell and just set a threshold for yourself. So if you say, hey, I want to sell any postcard individually if I could sell it for over $20 or over 50 or over 100 if you only want to sell maybe a handful of them or maybe none depending on what the box is like. But I would just set a threshold that you want to do unless you just want to, because selling every single one of those cards individually will probably take a while and be a lot of work, unless they're just really, it's a really, really incredible collection that you can just, you know, put all of them up individually and they're just great cards, so they'll all sell really, really quickly. But yeah, I would just set a threshold and choose a limit that makes sense for you to not do a lot of work. I'd probably, if you don't want to really get into postcard selling, I'd probably choose maybe $15 to $20 minimum and just sell the rest out in bulk to other sellers. But you're gonna, I mean, you can watch a lot of my videos or other postcard YouTubers videos to figure out what you want to look for, but definitely black and white photographic postcards, called RPPC, sell for some of the best money. Smaller towns, so if it's a town you've never heard of, chances are it could sell for decent money. Topics like Halloween are really popular. There's so much more. I don't want to, it would take me hours to sit here listing out everything that's really popular, but those are some of the biggest ones. Baseball related stuff does really well. Axe Monkey says, hi everyone, welcome into the chat, Axe Monkey. I think I've seen you in the chat before, or maybe a similar monkey. Mr. Interpol says, are antique band postcards a thing? And if so, what type of postcards have been featured on vintage cards? Oh yeah, I've definitely seen, and in fact I'll show you one I recently listed of a band. I think I've seen a couple Beatles postcards listed, but the more modern, relatively speaking, bands are gonna be, I think, produced in less numbers than the earlier ones. The most common ones I find, let me see, what was this one? Hillbillies. Let's see. Okay, and I assume you mean bands as in like, not like marching bands, but bands that travel across in the state or country and played shows and stuff like that. Let me see if I can share my screen real quick. Oh, I already have it up. Cool. Okay, but this one, come on. This one right here is what I most commonly find of bands from like 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, of bands that would go on radio stations and stuff. This one is Hank Keene and the Hillbillies, so a country band. But a lot of them I've found are connected to radio stations, because I guess that's how you really promoted your stuff back in the day. I I know they had concerts and stuff like that too, but of course nobody had CD players, and record players I think were pretty expensive. So everybody was listening to the radio. And that was how you promoted your music for the most part. So this is a nice card of. I think this guy's actually from around the Athens, Georgia area when I was looking him up, but this card is from a radio station in New York. So he would just go across the country and come into the station and play a couple songs, maybe get some postcards made up and hit the road. But Friday night at 6:15, I guess is when he went on the radio. I don't know if it's the radio station mailing this one out, trying to get people to listen to him at that time, or maybe even the band, desperate for listeners, mailed that out to people. But that's what I find most often. I don't really find a lot of recent band ones. I did, actually, I can show another one that's more recent. It's not one band, but it was a pretty cool one that I found. I've gotten a couple offers on it. I think for like $12 to $13, which maybe I'll eventually accept, but right now I have it priced at 20, which is actually the same price as admission. So maybe I'm a little bit too high, but I just think it's a really cool card, and even though it's more recent, this thing's gonna be history before you know it. So this is from a I think it was 2000. What did I put on this one? Let's see. I think I looked up the year. 2002. Yeah, I looked up when they were doing this Sprite Liquid Mix tour, which it's just funny because even though to me this is recent history, even though now it's over 20 years old. But like I listened to these artists growing up, Nerd, Nappy Roots, Jay-Z. So to me it's like not that long ago, but it's definitely dated. Like Sprite tour, you would never have that nowadays. That would be just blasted in the media because of all the rappers drinking lean. Yeah, I mean, I bet it was a good partnership, but you would never see that. And you can't, maybe I can enlarge that. So yeah, you can see that down there is also sponsored by Blockbuster. So that's pretty cool. I just thought the artwork for this one was really cool though, and really emblematic of the time period. You just don't see artwork like that made anymore for concert posters. Um, this was like a concert poster printed up as a postcard, and says the tour dates and everything. But yeah, it's really cool. So I guess it's a Rockefeller tour with Jay-Z and his underlings. And $20 to get in sounds pretty good, but I guess it's, open air venues. Anyway, to answer your question, yeah, I find band ones not super often, but they do come up from here to there. I'd say the more common band ones I find are like military bands or normal school bands, like marching bands, I think, organized bands like that, instead of the actual musical act bands. Brad said, Daniel, when you buy a large lot of cards and pull out the ones you want to sell, what do you do with the others? Sell them as a lot? Yeah, I eventually do. Right now, I just put them on my shelf because have been too lazy to put together lots to sell. But yeah, I need to sell a lot more lots pretty soon. But yeah, I've been quite lazy for quite a bit here, so they're just accumulating, and a lot of my floor is getting covered over there now because I ran out of shelf space. But ideally, yeah, I sell them as lots. I try to do boxes at a time instead of, every single card at a time, but I probably would sell every single card I had at a time right now just to get rid of all of them. Because it's yeah, I only go through cards once. I know a lot of other dealers go through them several times. I used to do it more than once, but now I just take one pass through, pull out what I want to list, and then it's done. um and a lot of them are organized. I just need to get better about selling them somewhere. But I'll probably in the next month or two sell some boxes. Axe Monkey said, "I have a question, please. I have a Cuba card posted in 1925 and a divided back. Is it safe to call it a divided back era?" Yes. Yeah, there's some kind of the eras aren't the eras kind of mixed together sometimes. So there are linen cards that have white borders. There are divided back cards that have no white border that are made in the 20s, like I'm assuming yours is. I would say if yours has a white border, I would just call it white border era because that fits a little better. But if it doesn't have a border, yeah, it's just a divided back card. The eras you see, I think eBay has years when you go to choose an item specific. They're not really, they're accurate, but you can't really just combine everything, or you can't really bin every card and say, oh, linen cards were only produced from this year to this year. They're always outliers out there. Chrome, though, I don't, since Chrome are to the present, the earliest Chrome I think are around 1939, where it says in the item specifics. But yeah, for divided back especially, in overseas they started a little bit earlier. So in the U.S. they started dividing backs no earlier than 1907, but if you have cards from the UK or other countries, I believe many of them started doing divided backs before 1907. And the one that's most flexible, or most you can't really nail down, is kind of the start of the white border era, because that wasn't due to any law change or innovation. That was just due to printers wanting to save money and print, use less ink on a card. And a lot of it had to do with World War II, and we are no longer printing in Germany. So some publishers, though, I don't think, I'm trying to think if Albert Type ever did white border cards. I don't think they did, but I could be forgetting some that I've seen. But I know for a fact that they published cards without borders into the 20s, 30s, and 40s. So you could call a lot of those or divided back, even though the era that they were published in would be like linen or white border. But yeah, the year doesn't necessarily signify. It can be a good indicator of a type of a card. Like if you have a card of a diner published in 1945, then there's probably a really good chance it's a linen card, but not necessarily. Marshall said, "We'll let you know if I find anything good." Yeah, we'd love to see your finds. And I'm sure there's some good stuff in there. It just depends on the ratio you get. It might be mostly good. It might be 10%. But Jason said, "I bought a collection that had a large number of marching bands and radio station bands. They sell quite well." Yeah, I don't come across them super often, but they do, yeah, seem to sell pretty well for me too. And especially if it's more, if it has a crossover collecting interest. So a lot of the bands themselves won't have any, big following now, because if a band, I hate to say it, but if a band played in, the 20s and 30s, probably don't have many fans around today that are still buying their postcards. But if they have crossover collection or collectability, like if they are from a certain town or whatever, then might be a little bit better than just a band by themselves. But I know there are collectors just of band postcards in general, although a lot of them might not have like their what's the word, like fans of the specific band. Marshall asked a question. I'm not going to put that on screen just because I don't know exactly what types of not that you said anything bad in your comment. I'll just answer it though. If you're allowed to sell kind of taboo cards, yeah, the on eBay you cannot. Some cards, you can definitely consign them to a private auction house, and the auction house can sell them. There are no like laws against it in the U.S. I believe they do have laws against selling it in Germany. So, I mean, you wouldn't be able to sell it to somebody in Germany. But yeah, there's no laws against it, but most platforms will take stuff like that down. I would say, I don't, I don't even know what I just kind of, put that stuff to the side and I don't get much of it at all, but when I do find it, I just kind of put it off to the side and, it magically disappears one day. No, if it's like some stuff that has a historical value, then I would definitely contact an auction house and sell it that way, because I know a lot of auction houses sell stuff like that. Biff said, "Be wary of Cuba. I had an album of antique Cuban stamps that got taken down, even though it's pre-embargo. You can't reason with the bots. Yeah, the Cuba stuff is just tricky. And I learned the other day. I don't know where I learned this. I don't know where I saw this, but right before he signed the embargo, I think it's embargo on Cuba. JFK just got a boatload of cigars shipped to him, so I thought that was funny. But Cuba, I don't understand. Like I know Cuba has a different system of government than us, but like we're not at war with Cuba. They seem like really great people. Like why can't we just sell postcards at Cuba? I don't get it. But I do sell the early postcards, of course, the pre-embargo ones, and I don't really have. I can't remember the last time I've had one taken down. I don't know exactly what the bots are looking for though. Let's see. Jerry Lynn said, "I tried to list a really cool card from Cuba, and eBay would not allow it to be listed. Just be careful with your wording; it will get flagged just for depicting Cuba. At least that was my experience. Yeah, I don't know exactly what triggers the bots. Maybe." It might be if you say the card was made in Cuba, that might be a red flag, or if there's some other words they're looking for in the title, I'm not sure. Um, Axe Monkey said, "Thanks. What do you do with USSR cards? Neither eBay nor Mercari will let me post them. I would try Facebook ephemera groups. I think they'd be fine there. Um, I don't think there's any rules about them on Facebook because it's more of just what Facebook bans in general, since a lot of these groups are created as Facebook groups. They're not created like as selling platforms specifically, so I don't think eBay bans images of Russia, or not eBay. I don't think Facebook bans images of Russia postcards, so I think you'd be fine selling them on Facebook. But with platforms like eBay, they ban, yeah, I guess they ban the Russian cards or USSR. I don't know if they ban uh, cards after the fall of the Soviet Union or not. But Biff said, "I can't give away a Benny Goodman record. I can't imagine a postcard would be any better." Benny Goodman. Let's see. Oh, okay. Musician, King of Swing. His orchestra did well commercially from 1936 until the mid 1940s. Goodman led one of the most popular swing big bands in the United States. Yeah, and no offense to you at all, Biff Buffo, but unfortunately, and I am in this camp too. We're just getting older, and there just aren't as many fans as the King of Swing as there used to be. Uh, yeah, just music from that time is. I know it still has a following, but I think you really just have to grew up or had to have grown up to appreciate it, right? I know there are exceptions though. Like I like a lot of the jazz from the 50s and 60s, so that's way before my time, but I don't know. Are there a lot of big band fans anymore? Fans of the King of Swing? I mean, I know my grandma does, but she's 91 now, so she's not on eBay buying postcards, unfortunately, although I've tried. Uh yeah, I would maybe I have had what I have sold for German postcards are buildings pre-war that got destroyed in the war. Those can definitely be worth something because yeah, the buildings no longer exist and there might not be any good photographs or whatever of the building, so people are looking to document that history. That can definitely be listed on eBay, and I would say I don't have much experience at all with German postcards. Sold very, very few, but the ones that I have sold that have done well are buildings that were destroyed. It just takes a lot of research, and I don't speak any German. I don't speak a lick of German, even though I am ancestrally German on my paternal side. Biff said eagle. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, censored that there, so I didn't. accidentally put on. I don't even know if I think it's fine, but I don't know. I don't want to accidentally get in any trouble with YouTube, so block out the symbol in Photoshop, then list it. Yeah, I think a lot of sellers do similar stuff like that on eBay, Facebook. Like if it has nudity or anything else that's banned, they'll just, the if you're not skilled in Photoshop, you can just get a little black piece of paper and put a piece of paper over. I've seen a lot of sellers do that, probably more often than Photoshop. So that might be another strategy to consider if you really want to list it on the platform. There's an arts and antique site that allows sales of almost anything I read about. Would have to look it up. Yeah, feel free to drop that in the chat or the name of it. I think only mods can put in links. Tell Fartsack Jack to put the link in and he can do it. If the card was printed or made in the U.S., it can be listed, just not if made in Cuba. Yeah, that might, if the card was made in Cuba, it might be causing you issues there. I'm here. You can do the $500 giveaway after. Yeah, it's unfortunate, Fartsack. I did have that planned for today, but after all the money I spent on my raised beds and the garden, unfortunately, I just am not able to do the $500 giveaway. But we'll have to postpone that to a later date. Yeah, maybe when I sell a postcard over $5,000, then I'll do a $500 giveaway. Biff said 50s and 60s jazz will have longevity, even early blues will, but World War II big band swing is never coming back in any noticeable way. Yeah, that's what I don't know. I don't know what, yeah, the jazz from that time, just, there's something about it that's timeless to me, but the this is gonna sound terrible, but the last time I can remember listening to like big band music was in the car with my grandma, and she had a satellite radio station that was like hits from the 30s and 40s, and that's crazy because they're gonna have to change the name of that station pretty soon because we're gonna be in the 2030s, and people are gonna get it confused with the 1930s. But yeah, I don't know what it is, but a lot of that music, please, if you like this type of music, don't take any offense to this. It just sounds very, very old to me. And it makes me think of like watching films in black and white and the Great Depression and that movie where that guy almost jumps off the bridge. What's that? The Christmas movie? Makes me think of that. Just like World War II and stuff. But the jazz, I don't know. That's like timeless to me. Like I remember like in the last few years, like when we'd go down to the pool at our old apartment and I'd listen to some old jazz, and it just, Otis Redding, I think, was one of my favorites. I don't listen to it. I need to get back into the jazz from around that time period, but don't listen to a lot of it anymore, but it's still timeless to me. Let's see, when was Otis Redding active? Okay, yeah, I guess he was in that late 50s and 60s. From Georgia boy. Yeah, Otis Redding is one of my faves. I've seen sold for Hustler with blacked out goodies or goods. Yeah, I guess. I mean, if like a prude comes across it, they might report you. Garden junkie, yeah. Yeah, I had not had a chance to have a garden since the last time we lived in Georgia. And when we lived in Georgia the last time, I did not have good experiences gardening because we rented places, so it was always, ask forgiveness instead of ask permission. And one year I remember at our apartment, we had so many plants, and we had them all on our patio. So like these plants were not on anyone else's property. We had plants on our back porch and on our patio, and they were all in containers. We weren't planting anything in the ground. But the shitty apartment complex made us get rid of all of these plants. And I will tell you the name of that apartment complex. Not like, there may be one person watching this that has a relative or a son or a daughter one day that would go to UGA. So I will say this for this one person, the name of the apartments, and I completely forgot. I'm gonna have to. What the hell? Oh, okay. It came to me now. These are the apartments. Terrible apartments Would not recommend living there. I'm just loading their website to share my screen. Um, if you know a student in your life that is going to UGA, tell them don't live at these apartments. They're slumlords, overpriced. The pool never looks like that. The pool is always way overcrowded. Hundreds of people are in that tiny little pool. It's a dump. They don't let you have plants. They made me get rid of all of my plants, which is really cruel because not only did we spend a lot of time on the plants, like watering and taking care of and growing them. I'm pretty sure I started them a lot of them from seed. Uh, we had to we had to take them and like throw them in the woods behind our apartment complex because they said we were junking up the area, and I will never forgive them for that. So all that to say, this is the first time in my life I've actually owned property, or the bank owns the property, but the bank thankfully is not going to come out and tell me that I can't plant plants in my yard, and we don't have an HOA. So it finally feels like I have control over my own yard. So I couldn't miss the opportunity to plant a garden, and I will be. I've got a few things still coming in that I've got to plant, but most of the stuff is already in the ground. I do have a peach tree coming in, which Georgia is famous for their peaches, if you've never heard. But other than that, I've got pretty much everything in the ground. Unless it's Glenn Miller from before he disappeared in World War II. Yeah. Thanks, God Run. We'll try to hop on next week. No problem. Yeah, I'll be here hopefully most Tuesdays at this time. Barbara said, my dad made us watch Lawrence Welk growing up, so I'm familiar with Big Band. The 30s is old. Yeah, the 30s is so old that we're coming around to the next 30s. Yeah, that's crazy. The 30s. I mean, it's always seemed old, but it seems even older now. Miracle on 34th Street. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. What's the miracle? Forgive me if this is crass to say, but is the miracle that he did not commit, that he did not end his own life? Was that the miracle, or is there another miracle? Does a kid get like a bunch of stuff for Christmas? It's been so long since I've watched it. Forgive my rusty movie knowledge. I really only watch the funny ones these days instead of the old sad ones. Miracle on 34th Street. What is the miracle? What is the miracle? If anybody, okay, the Santa is drunk at Thanksgiving. Oh, that might be funnier than I remember then, if the Santa's drunk. Oh, is Santa the miracle? That Santa's real? Is that the miracle? Fill me in the chat if you know what the miracle is on Miracle of 34th Street. We were more of a hee-haw family. Yeah, we were always country music growing up, and we're split now. Like, some of my family still likes country music. Some of it, my family does not like country music at all. I'll definitely still listen to some of the country music I grew up listening, but the modern country music I don't really, have any, I don't really relate to at all. So, also, it's so fake. I know there are some different types of country music, but for the most part, country music is so fake now. Because all of the people singing these songs about being hillbillies and working in the fields are multimillionaires that live in the Nashville area. And if you were here earlier in the show, I talked about previously living in Franklin, Tennessee, which is where a lot of them live. So I've seen a lot of their houses. Like, shoot. I know Taylor Swift has a house around Nashville. Kenny Chesney lived not too far away from where we lived in a mansion. And these people are not country at all. The furthest thing from country. So it's just all fake. They're not actually country. They don't know a damn thing about working hard or being out in the sun. It's just all for show. They're multimillionaires that have somebody else write their songs. And they're just performers. That's all it is. They're entertainers. Not genuine. Gregorian chants will become popular again. Oh yeah, that'll just have to cycle back around. Like, probably, when we get to the 2030s and the 2040s, big band will be back in again. I'm into gardens. I like my closet garden best. Oh, I need to share. I'm gonna share this picture because it's hilarious, and I have it saved on my phone. You'll appreciate this, Fart Sack Jack. This is the one house that we lived in that actually let us have a garden. Pro tip, if you're renting a house and you want to have a garden, live in a poor area instead of an area that has a bunch of college students, because the poor people are much more accepting than the people that are all uppity about you having some plants on your patio. But this is how, let me see, I know I still have this picture. I would never delete this picture. This is one of my prized pictures. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, I'm sharing it to my computer now, and I will put it on the screen. I would like to note before I share this picture, no illegal activity took place on the premises. Well, no, I took place in no illegal activity on the premises. This is completely above the law. But this, oh, am I going to have to convert this picture to a damn JPEG? Why does Apple insist on making their pictures this weird HEIC? Okay, I will make that a JPEG just so I can share that with you. Save, and there we go. Okay. Okay. Image file. Okay. So yeah, at my apartment where we could grow plants, we had a nice garden and raised beds in the backyard. But before we started the garden, I was growing a lot of plants from seed inside, and this is what this is what our house looked like from the street. So, as you as you can see, I had several grow lights set up inside to grow plants such as tomatoes, peppers, watermelons, all kinds of plants, all legal plants that I was growing. But yeah, I never realized it looked suspicious until I got home from work late one night and I saw that the windows looked like that. I don't even think I did anything, because in the neighborhood we lived in, like, nobody cared, and the police weren't like that and aren't like that in Athens. They're not gonna like bang down your door for something like this. But I just thought it was funny that our house looked like that from the street, and I am sure our neighbors thought we were not growing tomatoes and peppers, and we were not very discreet about the grow lights. But that we had a lot of nice plants there. I'm sad because I graduated from college in the spring, so I planted all that stuff, but I moved out before I got to see the fruits of my labor. And I at least got to plant it and watch it grow a little bit. Just mine the Blue Note catalog from the 50s and 60s, and that was a great place to start your jazz journey. Biff, those Blue Notes are so clear and tasty. Blue Notes. Blue Note catalog, I'll have to look that up. Blue Note catalog. Okay. Blue Note Records is a historic New York jazz label. Is that what you're talking about? Plants are junking up the place. Yeah, they were morons. And you know what they did? People let their dogs shit everywhere at that apartment complex. Dogs would literally shit on our patio, and our apartment complex did nothing about it. People never cleaned up after their dogs. We didn't have any pets in our apartment, but actually we did. Our pets were our plants, and they made us kill our pets. And we loved our pets, and it's just so ridiculous. They had no. We would complain so much about all the dog shit everywhere. You couldn't walk anywhere. We couldn't even go out on our patio without stepping on dog shit. But yeah, the plants that are in containers is what's junking up the place. Old lady got some random wildflower seeds from some foreign place. They're growing. Oh, nice. Yeah, my wife wants to grow some wildflowers too. So I have a few raised beds that still have availability, and I think we'll plant some of those. It's a Wonderful Life. I remembered that. Miracle is that Santa is real. That's the part I forgot. That makes sense, though. That makes sense. They put in sewers that year on 34th Street. That's the miracle. That would also be a pretty good miracle. The miracle is the insight about the importance of each person's life and contribution. That's good. That's yeah. I was off on that one. Yeah. The guy, does he jump? I thought like a ghost came to him and told him not to jump, not to make light of it. But I thought he did not jump, and that was like the whole thing. Did the guy not? Oh, I have my movies confused. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. In I thought Miracle on 34th Street was where the guy jumped, but It Is a Wonderful Life is where the guy jumped. I thought he did not jump though. I'm looking it up right now. Oh, he did dive into the river. Wait. Oh, he did jump. Okay. No, wait. There's so much conflicting information. What the hell? Okay, I need an actual answer to this instead of some AI generated garbage. George. Did George Bailey jump? I don't. Okay, so George jumped in to save his guardian angel, not to take his own life. That is what I have read, and I think that is what happened. So he did jump, but he jumped to save someone else. Correct me if that's wrong. Nowadays, country's a straight joke. Yeah, it's really terrible. Uh, yeah, they're all garbage. I mean, I still like some Kenny Chesney, even though I know it's all fake now. But I guess he's not considered modern. He's probably in the in between times, I guess. Um, but yeah, country music used to be so badass, and now they're just lame. They're just losers that are pampered millionaires, and they don't know anything about what they sing about. The miracle is he realized how impactful life really was. Yeah. Well, I guess there wasn't really a miracle. Ashley said, "Gotta fly." Bye bye. See you, Ashley. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I guess. I mean, there is a miracle. Well, it's not titled. There's no miracle in the title. Although it's a wonderful life, I would, yes, it's a miracle that he realizes how precious life was. But I was confused, and I thought that that was the plot of Miracle on 34th Street, but I now realize those are separate movies. Um, Country music has like 15 songwriters on each song now. Oh yeah, funny thing, I actually, in my previous job, I worked with one of those songwriters, and it's funny because he wrote songs for so many huge names, and we would always ask him, be like, hey, did this person write their own song? Be like, no, they didn't write shit. Did they write their own songs? Be like, no, they don't write shit. And pretty much nobody writes their own music. And yeah, he was one of the 15 people. Um, or you said 15 on each song. Yeah, they have that too. If you're like in the room, I think they give you credits, writing credits now. Uh, Lise, you are so right. I had the wrong name. Thank you. Oh, the miracle. Oh, the George Bailey. George Bailey. Natalie Wood. Okay. Yeah, we have. I was totally confused. I apologize. I think I may have fed into the confusion of the chat. I was asking what the miracle was in Miracle on 34th Street, but I thought that that was the movie where George Bailey is saved by a guardian angel named Clarence. Um, but yeah, now that I am no longer confused, I realize that it is that it's more obvious to me what the Miracle on 34th Street is now that I know that that is not the name of the other movie. Franklin, Tennessee is getting an in and out soon. I lived in Nashville before the pandemic. Yeah, we lived there. We started living there before and then moved last year back to Georgia. I hated living in the Franklin area. Nashville is definitely better than Franklin, in my opinion. Of course, there's so many people that think the opposite, which is why Franklin, Tennessee is such an expensive place to live. But Franklin, Tennessee just had no culture. It was just all people of the same race, all of the same status, all of the same wealth. They all had the same political beliefs. There was no diversity at all in that community. Franklin, Tennessee is where you go if you want to be shut off from the rest of the outside world and pretend that everybody is living in a la la land and nothing bad ever happens. That's where you go to live if you want to live like that, which some people do. More power to you. It was not for me, and I did not enjoy my time in the state of Tennessee. But I am much happier back in Georgia. So yeah, it's not like a thing. It's not like a red versus blue state or whatever. Obviously, although Georgia is more blue than Tennessee, but it's more so just like the culture and the people in the area. I like being around people that, like Franklin, Tennessee had not a single good Mexican place. It's a joke how bad the Mexican was in Franklin, Tennessee, because I'm not saying the small community of minorities that lived in Franklin, Tennessee didn't have the ability to make good food. The community did not support good Mexican food. The community wanted white, plain white Mexican food, which is not spicy at all, just your bland quesadillas, maybe a little cheese if you're feeling frothy. But yeah, it was not, yeah. Here we have way more authentic food and authentic culture, and I'm very happy to be out of Franklin, Tennessee. But Nashville is definitely much different than Franklin, so I'm sure you had a much different living experience than I did. Watering the plants is an accessory. Oh yeah, yeah. You saw the the picture. Sorry, I'm behind in the chat. Yeah, the the picture of our house from the street. There, I'm not going to say there was no illegal activity going on in the house, but I was not partaking in any of it. I was only growing plants that were allowed to in the state of Georgia. I was not breaking any laws while I lived in that house. It's legal here. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's so weird how it's like legal in some states and not others. But in a lot of states now, it's kind of legal. Like it's some different Delta whatevers that you can buy now in states where it normally wouldn't be legal at all. So it's a whole big thing now. But yeah, I was growing with those lights. I was only growing vegetables, fruits, nutritious food that is above the law, and that's what I told every police officer that stopped at our house. Good thing they didn't call Interpol on you and your plants with those lights. Well, I know that Interpol does not have any jurisdiction, so even if they would have shown up, I would have told Interpol to pound sand because Interpol cannot arrest you. They can only refer you to the local authorities and tell you that this guy might be growing something he shouldn't be. In fact, we think he is. Honestly, if my place looked like that, I'd be more afraid of getting robbed than a police visit. We did have somebody try to break in once, but they did not. They were unsuccessful, and we didn't have anything worth taking. So there is really no. There's very little violent crime in Athens. Uh, it ranks very. It's a very safe place to live. I'll just put it that way. So I have gotten robbed in a couple places I've lived, but and that definitely does feel violating, and it's not good. But yeah, I don't know. The attempted robbery didn't really bother me. Somebody was just banging on the door, and I had like it wasn't a Ring camera. It was like another security camera, but it had like an alarm on it. So I just played that until they went away, and they eventually did. But no, we have property crime here because it's a poorer area in general. The income for Athens is very low, but uh, yeah, mostly just like property crime, stealing, stuff like that. But yeah, I wasn't really afraid of getting robbed, but we did get robbed, but it's okay. They didn't break in. Or I guess we didn't get robbed then. There was an attempted robbery. I have been actually robbed before, and that's no fun when they take something. Blue Note is an awesome label for sure. Oh yeah, the jazz label. Um, oh yeah, I think you mean about or I think at that time I was talking about the apartment and their dog shit. Sorry, I'm still behind in the chat. Did you grow plants as a child? I grow edible flowers that can be used to decorate drinks, desserts, and salad. Oh, cool. Edible flowers. I might have to try out some of those. That sounds fun. Yeah, I did. We always had a garden when I was growing up, so I think that's why I still like doing it. And my dad, it was always something I did with my dad, and now he has a really incredible garden too. And I take a look at it whenever I go over there. But it was something we always did. We would plan out like exactly what we were going to plant that year, or we didn't do many things that came, like we didn't do many trees and stuff, but we would do tomatoes, peppers, corn, cantaloupe, watermelon, cucumbers, squash, all types of stuff, and it was great. Yeah, I love gardening. I think everybody should have a little garden if you can. Just got a handful of cards. Got a handful of rough cards hidden in a collection just purchased. What do you do with humorous cards that are on the risque or raunchy side? I don't really list any of those. I don't know if there's a ton of value there. If they're like the comic risque cards, I just don't know if you could get more than $5 or $10 for them, so I don't list them personally. But uh, it probably depends on the artist of the card. If it's like an artist signed card, but I'm sure they're collected. I just don't sell many of them. My mom was a big houseplant freak. From trees to cacti, every winter we had to gather them and put them all in one spot so they would all get heat. Yeah, yeah. I tried. I like pushing the boundaries of what we can plant here, because some stuff is kind of, it's either too warm here to plant or too cold here. So I've got a banana tree that I put in the ground that's supposed to be pretty cold tolerant, and I'll see if that survives the winter. Hopefully it does. I'd love to have bananas grown in my own yard. That just sounds so cool. Listen to Nashville Garbage Man, Timothy P. and the Railroad 3. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have to save those recs for later. Listen to 80s and 90s Country on Prime, Channel 58 on Sirius XM. Yeah, it's more so like, I think we listen to it on road trips and vacations and stuff. Oh, Hal just arrived. Welcome in the chat, Hal. If you want to go back, I did show a postcard of the week at the beginning of the show, so feel free if you want to rewatch the show. And I believe you can rewatch the chat too, if you'd like. But experience will be just as good. Jerry Lynn said, I had my worst Mexican dinner in Atlanta, and they were all Mexicans working there. Yeah, it doesn't, from my experience, it doesn't necessarily matter the ethnicity of the people working there. It's more so the type of crowd they're catering to. And I've found the Mexican places that cater to white people are my least favorite. The Mexican places that I like going to the most are just mostly, Hispanic people in there eating. But I know different people have different tastes. So if you like more of like American Mexican, then maybe the types of people where all the white people go are better for you. I was robbed a few times. Exes. Yeah, unfortunately, I was never robbed from someone I know. I say unfortunately because I feel like if it was somebody maybe there'd be a better chance of you getting your stuff back. But I still remember the iPod Classic that I had taken out of my car when I was about 16. And at that point in my life, like I had worked months to get that iPod Classic. And I had so many TV shows, movies, and songs on there that was a tragic loss. And this was before I had a smartphone. So this iPod was really all I had as far as entertainment. And it was very depressing. They also took, it's really messed up because they broke into my car. I had my iPod in the center, little thing that opens up. I just put it in there so it's not like it was laying on my seat or anything. They took the iPod and they took all of the change in my car, but not the nickels and pennies. So I didn't have any cash in my car, but they took all of my quarters and all of my dimes and left me my nickels and pennies. How messed up is that? Yes, there are some very interesting comps on raunchy cards, some commanding some pretty good prices. Yeah, I would just do your research there. Unfortunately, I wouldn't be of much help. I watch a guy that forages for flowers and stuff out in the wild, neat stuff. Yeah, that is cool. I've always wanted to be more well-read. I don't know if well-read's the right phrase, but I always wanted to know more about like what you can eat and what you can't eat out in the wild, because I know there's a lot of stuff that grows wild that you can eat. Blackberries grow wild around here, but I would be too nervous to just go around like eating stuff off of trees without knowing what it was. Comps or sorry, I'm Misreading comments. Some are very funny, and some have good comps. I will discard a few, but some are very funny and comp okay. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know. I've never really. I should do more research into the humorous cards like that. My only Atlanta experience was fueling up and leaving, driving a big truck. Yeah, Atlanta, it's fine. I don't know. I think the other big cities that I've been to are better. Like I think Chicago, New York, L.A., San Francisco. I mean, Atlanta's probably better than Detroit, but other than that, Atlanta's not great. Uh, but I don't know. I don't like really big cities in general though, so I'm the wrong person to ask. Although I really liked when we visited Chicago and DC. Those are fun cities. There are freegans that forage in the city for 2 meals a day. Yeah, you could probably do that. Probably get away with that. With all the stuff people throw out, you could probably be eating pretty good too. And I feel like more places should give away food for free because I used to work at a grocery store and we throw away so much food. I know restaurants throw away a ton of food. If people gave away food at the end of the day or something instead of throwing it away, a lot less people would be hungry. They also eat half-eaten pizza out of the trash. Now that's disgusting. But I mean, if you don't have money for food and you don't have a home, I mean, what else are you gonna do? All right, I think my voice is starting to go out, so I'll probably end the stream in a minute or two, just to give you fair warning in case you want to add any last minute comments or questions into the chat. I should be here again next Tuesday. Exciting personal news. The Switch 2 releases Thursday, and hopefully mine will be delivered Thursday, so I'll be enjoying that new video game system this weekend. But yeah, should be back next Tuesday at the same time. Should be should have time to do another What Sold video Monday. It's disgusting seeing what all's tossed out. Yeah, and yeah, Publix especially because we they used to. So when I worked at Publix, they used to have a program with a local food bank, and they would like come up and pick up the food, and it was great, and I thought it was a really nice program. And then there stopped being like a tax credit for all of that food, and Publix stopped doing it. So I'm pretty sure every other company would do the same thing, or every other big company at least. Like small businesses would probably donate it still, but that's just how shitty big companies are. Like they were only willing to donate that food if there was a tax break in it for them, even though they didn't even have to do anything. Like all we did was put the food in these barrels and like people would come pick it up. So it was literally no extra work for us, but they stopped doing it because they stopped getting a tax break. And they said it's better for us to throw this food in the garbage than to give it away, even though it makes no monetary difference for us. But I still shop at Publix. Shopping is a pleasure. Their corporate policies may not be, but shopping is a pleasure. How many cards? How many sold cards? God, I cannot read. Have you sold many cards from Conneaut, Ohio? I'm having a hard time finding comps for them. No, I have not, but I'll look it up really quick. I think I've seen a good number. Conneaut. It's on the lake near Pennsylvania. Near Ashtabula. Okay, okay. My family's from around Ashtabula. Uh, yeah, I'm not seeing a ton from Conneaut, but it looks like they sold pretty good. Yeah, it looks like real photo cards can go for around at the higher end, $80 to $100, and uncommon printed cards can go for 40 to 50. That's what it looks like for me, but yeah, I see a good bit of cards from Conneaut. Conneaut. Conneaut, Ohio. Yeah, I'm seeing a good number, but yeah, it just depends on the card, but I would say higher end, or you're looking at those numbers. There's a new app called Too Good To Go that restaurants, bakeries, and grocery stores sell their food at a discounted price. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, Publix could even do something like that, because what we would do, we would toss out everything that was expiring the next day. And a lot of stores wait until the day it expires to toss it out. So, for example, Kroger waits until the same day. So, like, if you're shopping at Kroger, and Kroger is definitely better about waste than Publix because they do manager specials and stuff like that. If stuff's about to go out of date, Publix, they just throw it away. Um, but Kroger, the food that's expiring the same day, they'll like throw it away that night, I think. But Publix does the day before, so we would go around every night, and any food that expired the next day, we would have to throw away. So that, yeah, that definitely sucked. And they should have done, even if they didn't want to give it away, like there's definitely better solutions than throwing it all in the trash, which is what we had to do. And we could not take any food home with us. We had to throw it in the garbage and watch it get, uh, I was going to say incinerated, but I think that means lit on fire. We didn't have an incinerator there. Incinerator. It was not an incinerator, but it felt like we were burning it. Will you stand in line for the game system? Will it be delivered to you? I was fortunate enough to be to get a pre-order directly from Nintendo. So Nintendo will be shipping it to my house. Although if we had a Nintendo store around here, I would love to pick it up, but we don't. Uh, yeah, definitely Mario Kart and Donkey Kong Bonanza. I got Cyberpunk too. I've never played that, and I want to play that on the Switch. But really excited about Mario Kart, and hopefully that will be. I don't see any. I've never hated a Mario Kart game, so I'm sure it'll be fun. Um, I read about a Korean grocery that starts discounting all of their food every evening, with deeper and deeper discounts until 11:30, and then it's free. Everything goes. Yeah, that's a great solution. Like, there's so many better solutions than just throwing everything away. And you wouldn't believe the amount of food that grocery stores throw away on a daily basis. I only worked in one department at the grocery store. We threw enough food away every single day to probably feed a family of five. I mean, assuming the food was going bad, so it's not like a family of five could actually live on it for 3 months, but it would have been the quantity of food would have been enough to feed like a family of five for 3 months. So just an insane, insane amount of food that we're throwing away every single day, and they still do, as far as I know. My dad worked for DuPont. They tossed hundreds of thousands of dollars of brand new electric motors. They wouldn't sell them to my dad. They had to be junk to get the write off. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Publix. They would donate them why they were getting the tax write off, and I guess I don't know if they got anything for trashing the food, but something changed to where they weren't getting the same tax benefits from donating it. So they started just trashing everything instead. Maybe it was that they would get a better tax benefit from trashing food. And if that's the case, then the laws should just be changed to not give companies a tax benefit for throwing stuff away. Because that doesn't make any sense. uh, that's the food that they put for sale, like 10 bagels for $4. Yeah. Yeah, it's just so frustrating when companies do stuff like that. Dollar stores chuck dumpsters full 2 to 4 times a week. Yeah, it's just sad. I mean, I know, like, if you give it all away, like, some people are probably just gonna want to buy the stuff you give away instead of actually shopping at your store. But there's so many people that could be helped by just giving it away or even discounting it instead of just throwing it in the trash. Because it's just sad because a lot of it, it's not just the food that's being thrown away, but when you think about all the work that went in to make that food, like we throw away so much watermelon, for example. Every day we threw away a ton of cut watermelon. And that watermelon like had to be planted and grown by a farmer. Like he spent time watering it, fertilizing it, everything like that, shipping it to market. Like there's so much work that went into producing that food, and you just have no respect for it to basically throw it away. Okay, I'll end on that rant. I will be back next Tuesday, hopefully. Thanks everyone for coming to hang out. It's always a lot of fun. I will see you all next week, and have a good one.